Hey, this is Bray with Great Lakes Boating Magazine here with Scott Hanson. He's going to tell us a little bit more about his boats. Let's have a look around.
This is where Rossiter Boats started. We started with building traditional wooden rowing boats back in the early to mid 70s. We migrated into fiberglass about 28 years ago. Customers came to us and say, we love the quality and the performance of your rowing boats. Would you consider building a Great Lakes big water little boat power boat? So along came the birth of our Rossiter 14. It was Rossiter Boats' first power boat, which was introduced about 20 plus years ago. We're renowned for a big water ride and something smaller, efficient, with a great top end. It's a 24-degree dead rise boat. It's like a little sports car. But you get caught out on the Great Lakes, the weather turns, and all of a sudden you got a 2, 3, 4, 8-foot chop. You can get home safely if you've got some experience behind the wheel. So it's a very appealing craft for our customers around the Great Lakes. It's got a lot of storage. It's got an integral 19-gallon tank, fuel tank. It's all composite construction. Obviously, like all boats under 20 feet, they must be unsinkable. But as so many people say, they just love the classic style, which is kind of timeless. So this is our Rossiter 17 Classic Runabout. People approached us back in 2010 and said, we love the 14, but what about when we want to boat in the spring and the fall in the Great Lakes? What about when the weather turns? Can I have some coverage? Well, what about if I want to take some friends, not just the family of 2 or 3? So why can't we bring back that classic closed deck runabout? So along came the inspiration for the Rossiter Classic Runabout back in 2010. It's our most popular boat that we build in terms of volume and appeal throughout North America. And it's just classic lines, big water performance, 22-degree dead rise hull. So you get out in the chop on the Great Lakes and some of the smaller lakes around this neighborhood. It's just a very pleasurable experience. Its sister ship, which is our center console, back in 2010, center consoles were migrating up from Florida into the Great Lakes, and people said, it's not that I want a fish boat, but I love the arrangement. So if you could create a boat that had that arrangement, but I want the wind in my hair and go out and enjoy. So you're not going to see it outfitted with a whole lot of fish stuff, but we do have a fish model that has a high-speed bait well, rod holders, fish finders, and that kind of thing for our southern customers. But for the most part, this is for up here in the Great Lakes. This is how people order this boat. This is our Rossiter 23. It was introduced in 2014 in response to people that loved our 17s, liked the 14s, but wanted a principal boat for the Great Lakes. If I wanted friends and family to be able to go out, as with all our boats, they're all self-draining cockpits, but this gave you roominess and comfort for 10 people behind the windshield. So Great Lakes boaters, we don't have 365 days a year like in Florida to go boating, so up in this neck of the woods it gets a little colder in the fall and the spring, so we've got opening side vents and opening front vents. So when you have the canvas up and you're out there in a 50-degree day in the spring or the fall, you can still, or when it's 90 degrees in the summer, you can have air. You've got a nice porcelain plumbed head down below, so for those of us that are a little bigger, we don't have to get in a yoga position to get down in there and use the head. You've got lots of storage, and you can put teak tables in here, and you can it's bringing back that classic day boat. You've got a pop-up ski pylon on the transom area, and one of the things that people really love about this arrangement is the ability to walk easily onto the swim platform, which is integrated to the boat. It gives it a long-running surface and contributes to its performance. Easy access to the water with a nice 4-rung ladder. Surprising to most, with 200 horsepower on this boat planes at 15 miles an hour, tops out at 44 miles an hour. You can put a 250 if you want to push the 50-mile-an-hour mark, but for most people that's a nice ride, comfortable and pleasurable. This is our Rossiter 20. It's a boat that we introduced in 2016. Actually, at the Toronto International Boat Show was its debut. People loved the layout of the 23-foot boat, but what they wanted was something just a little bit smaller, easy to trailer. So we preserved the layout that people loved. We added some features like a little anchor locker on the transom. We added actually a anchor locker on the bow with a bow boarding ladder that's all concealed and deploys, doesn't upset the profile that people love about our boats. One of the reasons people love center consoles today is I love to stand and drive. So what we've done is we have an integrated double wide seat so that Grandpa can sit beside his grandchild when they're driving, a flip-up bolster so I can stand and drive, sit high, sit down and lounge and go for a cruise And then we have what I would call a little forward trunk. So down there you can have a porta potty plumbed if you want, but you also have storage, dry storage vent, which is sealed and watertight and drained underneath all of your seats, which is nice. This too is a self-draining cockpit. You see large scuppers in the periphery, and there's smaller scuppers up forward. So gravity feed drain out the back, which is something that is expected as a price of entry in the center console market, but not so common in the outboard or in the runabout market. If you look on the internet, you find us at rossiterboats.com, and you can click on our representatives page, and you'll find dealers throughout North America, all throughout the Great Lakes, because this is our home turf, and then up into the Pacific Northwest, down into Cape Cod in New England, and if you're a boater in South Florida, you'll find 3 dealers down there as well.